Hey dipshits, it's Hunter. Just want to remind you that you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at OlderNDumber. That way you can keep up to date on any news we have going on or alerts, all types of different things. But either way, here's the show. Later, dipshits.
Oh, God,
Super
was that
cool.
being recorded?
Yes.
Oh, holy shit. All right, that's fine. Good thing this protector's here. Your mic would have been broken.
Anyways, there's a ring of telekinesis in here, which is kind of cool. It kind of reminds me of like, I don't know what it reminds me of. I have like, it has like those little metal tongs that like bend into the jewel.
Does it remind you of salad?
I don't know. There's
Are
like
you
a
mixing...
fantasy movie ring I'm thinking of that has these like
Princess Bride?
I don't think so. Anyways,
a tuning
I'll think of it later, but it has like the metal tongs that like dig into the jewel to keep it in place. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it has, like,
that's
a lot
usual
of
jewelry stuff. You know, that reminds me of the big red jewel from Aladdin. Do you remember? Abu stole it and made the entire Cave of Wonders fall in. Yeah.
I do remember.
I just wanted to make sure.
Do you remember when
that.
Robin Williams was the genie before the genie appeared?
Yeah,
it was like in the market.
Yeah, I do.
Do you remember?
I was there.
You were there. 15,000 years.
1996.
It was 1996.
I don't know. I kind of feel like an idiot sometimes. Although I am an idiot, so it kind of works out.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid?
That's so funny. Last time I heard that, I laughed so hard I fell off my dinosaur. Put that cookie down now!
That is the most real, authentic, hysterical laugh of my entire life because that is not a plan.
What's your record for consecutive questions asked?
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
I don't care. I love it.
What the fuck?
Anyways.
Ooh, actually before that, so this is the beer we got. It's called Mega Juicy. I don't know.
It looks really weird.
Oh yeah, the can looks fucking crazy.
There's like
it was designed after me. That's my stage name.
Mega Juicy.
Mega Juicy.
Mega Juicy.
I like it. I like it.
I don't work holidays though.
It's like labeled MJ, like Michael Jordan.
Hey.
Well, that's I was thinking of a different Michael, but that's fine too. Okay, going on.
I can't tell who the actual brewer is, but I think it's Two Roads. It's the only other name on here I see. However, my first sip, I was like, Jesus, holy moly, and then my second and third sip have been good. It's definitely weird. It's mega juicy.
It smells mega hoppy to me.
Keep it juicy
Damn
is
right
what it
is.
says.
Welcome to the Older and Dumber podcast. I'm your host, Carter.
Oh.
To my right, we have the one, the only, voice actor extraordinaire, the only one, Hunter Taylor.
The only one, Hunter. It's voice of Hunter.
Well,
I don't even know my
only
my
one
socials.
Hunter is your
my gaming.
Yeah, it's
only one Hunter is my gaming
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Right.
Voice of Hunter.
But you are the voice of Hunter.
I am the voice of Hunter.
This is what you are hearing right
True,
now.
Yes, this is what you're hearing right now. It's the voice of Hunter.
True.
That's me, yeah boy. What's up, guys? And as always, we have the Cardboard King, investor extraordinaire, saver of all things, and now a newfound judge who doesn't have time for his friends anymore and just goes to judge parties.
Not quite.
Not quite. No.
Carter Ruttle.
Just because I judged one weekend doesn't mean I'm a judge. First of
Mr.
all.
Ruttle.
Mr. Ruttle.
When will you complete your Judge Academy modules so that I can endorse you for certification?
When
Magic players everywhere are asking the question.
Many Magic the Gathering players ask the question. And to my left,
yes, introduce our guest.
We are joined by a guest,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Ryan Sears.
Hello, that's me.
Ryan, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do? Why
what do I do?
Yeah,
Let's see. So, I am a level 2 Magic judge, and
what? That's what he is.
It's funny. It's the first thing.
What do you mean?
More important than what I'm about to talk about, which is what we're going to talk about for the rest of the episode. I hear that's what I was told. I moved to Ithaca to get a PhD in economics at Cornell here. I am originally from Flint, Michigan. Went to MSU. And I am a walking, talking shitpost as well. And those are 3 things you needed to know about me.
We're also
Fucking
opening a
talking
business
shit
together.
first.
It's like a
Oh,
fake
right.
thing.
Yes. Yes. Cantrip Cards and Games.
Mm-hmm. What is this? What is it?
The store?
Yeah,
Cantrip Cards and Games?
What the fuck is it? Yeah. Why?
So,
Who is it?
so why?
What is
Okay.
it?
Well,
what does it do?
so here's the thing. I have worked at dozens of stores. So like I said, I'm a level 2 magic judge. That means I go around, I go to conventions. I've worked like Origins, Gen Con. I was up in Syracuse last weekend for working for Star City Games, along with Carter. That was his first time at a big event. Everyone clap. And he did a great job, by the way. I got a lot of feedback from him. I kept my my eyes out, and I had other people report back to me. So basically, I'm pretty familiar with game stores, how they ought to be run, what helps them run smoothly, what makes them not run smoothly. My big focus is Magic, but I have like loose familiarity with other things, D&D, etc. I would, defer to y'all for that. But basically, so I moved here, like I said, a year ago to start my program at Cornell, and I was like, okay, cool. This is whenever I go to a new city, the first thing I do is I look for the local game store here, wherever I'm at, because like just immediately, just off the bat, that is a way to find people with a common interest, right? It's like easy. Like no matter where I go, I have like 2 clicks away and I can tap into a social network of people who I know I'll probably get along with majority, right?
Makes sense.
It's sick. So yeah, and I'm certain that the owners of GEA do not listen to this podcast. So I tapped into my local to the Wizards Play Network store locator, and I was like, Great Escape Adventures, let's go. And I went up there, and I have never seen a store with such a seemingly active disdain for its own player base. So I mean, it's just true. Like I've talked about it to other people, and I wanted to say this because when people come up to me, or like I hear them residually say, like if anybody asked me for advice, like, hey, I want to open a game store, should I do it? The default answer is no. It's a terrible idea because the margins are thin. There's usually competition. We'll get back to that later. It's a lot of people do it for the wrong reasons. They open in places that don't have a thriving community or like a demographic to support a store. And the big motivation for a lot of people is good. They want to be a part of their community. They want to like be somebody who owns a game store. It's the nerd equivalent of like people who open up a coffee shop because of the aesthetic, right? They're like, oh, I'm gonna open up a small hipster bakery coffee shop. And then they divorce as a couple and move on, and they go bankrupt and have $50,000 in debt. You see those little businesses pop up and fall down all the time because people on average don't know what it takes to run a business. And I mean, I'd say that's pretty true for me too, but I think we have a lot of good things going for us here. One, nobody at the local game store around here seems to have a concept of like, we're not just retail, it's like a community space. So like there's a huge difference for running a local game store versus like, I don't know, like a Reebok outlet, right? Like you people aren't sitting down and making friends and choosing your space as a place to go for hours to like have fun and entertain themselves. And that is, when it all boils down to it, that is the core of business for a local game store. And what I've seen, in my short time here is that like, no, it's just not what the emphasis has been on. I appreciate that GEA is family owned, but I think there is, I think that's actually run into some of their problems is because they aren't hiring the talent needed to actually make and grow like a community at their store. So what we're hoping to do is to take our collective experience. I've been a judge for about 4 or 5 years now.
Sure.
Level 2 for a bit longer, or not level 2 for a bit shorter than that. And I have a background in economics, like I was saying. That's not the same as business, but it does help, I think, with like the critical thinking part of it. And actually, I have experience as like a community manager for a website. I did that for like 2 or 3 years. I managed a team of 60 moderators / volunteers. It was great. And we're hoping to tap into this market and provide like a good space for people, because there isn't another store within like 50 to 75 miles, depending which way you measure.
And
Sure.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think I
Toot
did.
it.
I cultivated what is there at GEA for
Yeah,
community,
absolutely.
for Magic
Yeah.
community.
Yeah, I was talking like
isn't-
from owners like top
Right.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were great, Carter.
Jesus, I don't want to toot my.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but
No, praise
I
birds
feel
too.
like we have like a really cool tight knit group in Ithaca that
Yeah.
all are friends or definitely kind towards each other.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true, and I think that really makes the bedrock of like what makes this project even possible, like feasible to
Yeah,
start
it's
with.
all because of me. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
You're gonna sell magic.
Yes.
You're gonna sell space.
No. We're not gonna sell magic
Community.
we're gonna sell a space, a community. We're gonna sling.
Well, we're
magic.
gonna sell both.
We're gonna sell magic. Like that's what we have there as product.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Really, what we're trying to sell is somewhere you can take people
Yeah.
to have a good time.
Yeah. With incentives like a lot of people I think found like D&D over the pandemic. They're like, what's something we can do online when that's kind of like fun.
Sure.
Mhm.
And
I would say yes.
Yeah. I think that's like pretty true.
Mhm.
And something you can do with that is, so like now that people, it's safe to go to each other's houses and play in person again, whether that's for D&D, Magic, etc.
Mhm.
So part of the challenge of running a game store is saying like, hey, what can we offer to make it such that when people like want to go out and they're like, okay, I want to play D&D, where do we do it? Like, what incentive is there for them to go out of the comfort of their own home and do it at like a place, right? Like it takes more coordination, more people like driving around, and that requires like a clarity of purpose for these kinds of spaces that I think that will have an advantage in offering compared to other stores.
Nice. Sweet.
We won't be selling Melissa and Doug. Is the main point.
Well, cool. That's pretty dope. What's the expected? When will I finally be able to walk inside this brick and mortar?
2 million years.
2 million years from now.
Just kidding.
Jesus.
The next year or so.
The anticipation.
Yeah. The timeline is a little ill-defined at the moment. There's just a lot of things like that we don't have control over that we have to wait on and hear back from people.
Sure.
But the goal is definitely within a year. I think we're all on the same page for that.
Nice.
We are starting operations now. We've been
Yes.
operating as a business. We are an official business,
Yes.
and we are operating as so. We sell and buy. We just don't have a brick and mortar right now.
Yes, and soon we will have they're not up right now. We're working with our graphic designer to make logos and stuff, but once that's all set and done,
Have socials,
we'll have socials, links to our inventory,
Discord.
etc. Yeah. You can look for that in the
Nice.
coming weeks.
Well, I can't wait until there's a brick and mortar so that we can walk inside.
Same.
We're gonna have
And-
like Power Ranger rings to hand out to our closest friends.
Oh,
Nice.
hell yeah.
Just like they take you to a shoot that takes you to the store.
Oh.
We'll have our people talk to your people.
Dope. That's cool. All right. Well, now that we've done that, Carter, how was your week?
It was
How's
pretty
life
good.
going? How's life doing?
We back from SEG Con as we talked
you
about
were
earlier.
gone. You were gone last week. It was
Yeah.
just me and Joey.
It was kind of a nervous thing because it was my my first like big event. Like I had run like small FNMs, like 50 people, a little bit bigger than that, but this was like much bigger for me anyways. It was probably one of the more like the smaller events that Ryan's done for that size, like that category.
Yeah.
Um,
Syracuse is a little smaller than usual.
How often were people mad at you for like decisions you made?
I don't think anyone was. I think I was too timid to make any clear-cut decisions to like be like, hey, this is how it works and there's no way you can find like you can climb back from this. I was always like, hey, I'm gonna double check with a judge, secondary judge, to make sure that this is correct, and we'll get back to you or something like that, or offer them an appeal, which I probably shouldn't have a few times. I would always end up my judge calls because when someone like calls a judge over, a judge comes over and sees.
No, I don't. But
okay. So in Magic the Gathering, when two players feel like there's an infraction that has happened in the game state,
or if they just have a question,
or if they have a question or oracle text or whatever,
yeah.
If they have any questions about rules or regulations or anything like that, they call over a judge, and a judge will go over it and then issue a ruling or oracle text or whatever they were called over there to do. If they're ruling, like if they rule over what has happened, so like an infraction has taken place and they put into place something that would fix the infraction, and the players don't agree that that's the proper fix, or they want to try to angle shoot, or they can call an appeal, basically.
Yes.
They can be like, hey, I don't think this is ruling correct. I want to talk to the head judge. I want the head judge to appeal, or someone.
Who's the head judge?
They're designated before the event.
Okay.
And then the head judge will come over, and I will tell them what happened. Blah blah blah. This was my fix. This is what I said that the players would be. If the players would be okay with this, then we can move forward. And then they would either stand by my ruling or recount it. I don't know.
Overturn
the ruling.
Sure.
So I would always, which was a bad thing, I wouldn't say a bad thing, but like a thing that wasted a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's just like at the margins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was always like, you are able to get an appeal. It is well within your rights to ask for an appeal. Like after every judge call I was at, if I thought that there was even like a monicum of like doubt in my mind.
Good use of the word monicum.
I know. I'm pretty smart.
Yeah.
And I got appealed every time. So like I took probably 8 or 9 judge calls.
You were appealed every time.
I was appealed. Out of the ones that I said that they could appeal, I was appealed every time. 100%. So I was appealed like 4 times, I think. Total.
Gotcha.
And all of my appeals, all of my rulings withstood the scrutiny.
Testament.
Yeah.
Testament of judgment.
So it went
Carter's
well.
actually good at this. Wow.
I could use some refining.
It's not about being perfect. It's about when you're not perfect, how do you handle it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my week was good, I would say. How was your week, Hunter?
I'd say it was pretty good. I mean, I lived another week of life and made it towards the goal of death.
Whoa.
Proud of you.
No. It was good. I did a lot of auditions and stuff and work this week at the studio. I actually had to do this role where I had to cry. Pretty cool.
And then my dad was like, "I never loved you, son."
No. No, because I'm working with the intern a lot now. Like John's dad, John, whatever you want to call him.
Sorry, my dad.
His dad is my dad.
Studio.
Papa.
Recording. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so dad was like, he's usually like there now and just kind of oversees it, but I mostly work with Logan now.
Logan.
Yeah, that's the intern.
The Logan
Paul? New intern. But anyway, so like I said, I did a bunch of auditions this week. And I had to do it for this role where it was like, so it was this college short film, and it's about the world is ending, right? But so there's this character named Michael, and he is in a relationship with this girl. I can't remember the name. But anyway, they break up, and he's like super sad and depressed and blah, blah. And it's been like a month or so or something, or maybe longer. I don't remember. But anyway, the world's about to end. And the entire time he's been like trying to work up the courage to go tell her he still loves her and stuff. But the world's about to end, and this is when he decides to do it. So it's this whole story about him trying to make it to her and then tell her how much he still loves her and like all this stuff. But there's like this scene I had to do where I'm like, he's like, basically he's realizing that, what's really the point? Like the world's ending, but I still got to tell her. And like, he's just crying while he's like yelling to himself about what the fuck he's going to say. And it was pretty cool, but I got to cry. And when I did it, I was like, wow, this was so fake. But then when I listened back to it, and even when our dad listened to it,
I see.
He was like, oh, wow, no, that really sounded like you were crying. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'm okay at this. So that was pretty cool. I auditioned for this new anime someone's trying to start. And then I did some Genshin Impact stuff. You know the game Genshin Impact?
No, I don't.
Yes,
Don't
you
speak
do.
its name here, or we'll be here.
Do you know the game, Ryan? Genshin Impact?
I know of it. My husband was hooked on it for a bit, and I had
Yeah.
to stop him. It was there's an intervention. Not really, but like
You put
holy
up the
shit.
whole banner and
Put
everything.
up the yeah. He kept watching. I swear to God, there have been at least 23 hours of content on our TV screen of just random items opening up, and there's like a star falling, and that's all I know.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, I did an audition for some Genshin Impact like story drama stuff, which was cool. But I got to play a villain, and I always love playing the villain, so that was fun.
Relatable.
Doing the villain's always fun. But yeah, I mean that was
Yeah.
really my week. Not really much else other than that, you know.
Mhm.
Kind of lived, did my thing.
You're sounding
Mhm.
like me now, like episode 2, episode 3, Carter.
Vibing.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I had a newbie at work, trained them. But no, yeah, it's no, it's been a week. It's been okay.
How's your week been, Ryan? What did you do this week?
How's life for you?
So I have
Tell
this.
us about
I have
your
this
life.
friend. I'll have him rename nameless. But I'll call him
Probably
Conjarter Ruttle.
okay.
And-
That's you.
Yeah.
He brought over about 15,000 Magic the Gathering cards and plopped them on my kitchen table, and I'm still trying to sort through them.
It's for work.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
God.
It is.
I'm selling all like,
Yeah, I could be doing that right now, but he's like, no, come on the podcast. And which great, but also, are these cards gonna ever get off my fucking kitchen table? Tune in next week. You know, I'll give you an update.
We'll give you the 411
Yeah,
on
yeah,
how it's
yeah.
going.
You could have just like given David your house like lock information, and he could have just.
I wish last time I did that. So when we went to Columbus, so I could work Origins, I gave him lock info, and I asked my property manager who lives across the hall from me.
ask.
No, listen, I did, and she's actually pretty chill. I was like, hey, I have somebody coming over to take care of my cat while I'm out of town for the weekend. Is that fine? And she was like, yeah, I'm actually going to Maryland. Cool. It's like, yeah, all right, cool. So he did that, and then they sent out an email that was like security, and I think it was her sister, who's also a manager. That was like, there have been people in the halls that don't live here. We're gonna have to like
jeez.
change the locks and stuff. And I was like, I got this approved. Like, what's going on? So I can't give out the code anymore, or else there's a chance I face a fine. I think I kind of skirted by it that one. Yeah. But yeah.
That's odd.
Yeah, it is a little odd.
That's a little odd.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Hunter, and you're listening to the Older and Dumber podcast. What? What do you mean they can't see me drawing the logo with the wand? Podcast? You can't handle the podcast. Older and Dumber. It's in the podcast.
That's not the line, Hunter. You're supposed to be talking about how people can sub on Patreon for early episodes.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, yeah. We're gonna be the best podcast. Believe it. Well, that's just great. It's Older and Dumber, man. It's Older and Dumber.
Hunter, no, stop. The line is, you can get access to exclusive content and behind the scenes. Now give me another one.
Exclusive? What are we doing that's exclusive? Dipshit bots. Transform and roll out.
Luke, you are my dipshit.
Hunter, we've been here for 4 hours. Just tell people how they can become dipshits and sub on patreon.com/olderandumber. That's N-dumber, not and.
I love it when a podcast comes together. So we've gone over our weeks. Now we get down to the business and the reason why we even brought you here, Ryan, and that's because you are.
I'm a friendly person.
Yes, you're a friendly person, and that you are an economics major.
Yeah, so I did my
Yes.
I did my undergraduate. I majored in econ and I minored in math, philosophy, and social science data analysis.
Nice.
Yeah.
So as the leading expert that we know,
Yeah.
as the only leading expert we personally know,
Mhm.
we have hard-hitting questions about
Let's do it.
about things. Well, the first question, which I had started to ask you in the car, but I wanted to make sure we asked you now because I want
Content.
Yeah. What the fuck does an econ do? or an economist, an
Economist.
an economist, an economer. Like,
yeah.
what's the job you're looking for?
All right.
What do you do?
All right.
how
So
do
this,
you-
yeah,
what
yeah,
is-
yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
All right. So this falls into a few different possible areas. So
This is a
if you just
riveting
have,
episode.
if you have just like a 4-year degree, usually that means that you're going to work really in like finance or something. So like you might go work at like Quicken Loans or like a bank or something. That's a lot of econ majors. So it's kind of funny. I always joke that most econ majors that graduate from a 4-year university are just people who didn't make it into the business school.
Okay.
Which is
So
like
what are you talking
kinda
like?
true.
These are the type of people who go work for like J.G. Wentworth, or am I way off?
No, that's about right. So like, but so they'll either, you know, the really, really, really smart ones will go to move to New York and get a job at, you know, on Wall Street, you know, work 80 hours a week and kill themselves.
Oof.
But some people it's like, oh yeah, you know,
Like the
I
Wolf
got
of Wall Street.
yeah.
That is literally Ryan's life, is Wolf of Wall Street.
Not even close, baby. I hate finance. Well, that's not. I hate's a strong word. So I really don't like big finance.
Okay.
Actually, there's a lot of interesting stuff in microfinance. So the people who go into econ because they're like, I want to do the math, I want to do the theory. That's people like me.
And then there's people who want to fuck Margot Robbie. there's two
That's
wolves.
the only reason you
There's
get
two wolves
yeah,
inside.
The only reason.
There's two wolves. One's the micro, one's a macro wolf. But
oh god.
Yeah. So the nerdy shits like me, do they either go into they usually have grad school in mind, which was what I had too, PhD program.
Sure.
Most econ people skip over a master's unless you're an international student. You usually need that to be competitive for a US PhD program. So those are all just like whatever jobs. If you're a PhD economist, things start to get a little interesting. So PhD economists have some of the, I think it's in at least the top 5. It might be either the top or the top 3.
Sure.
Like median salaries of like every PhD program. It's definitely true for econ professors. Econ professors are like the best paid professors at most universities. On average, you know, that's excluding like, oh yeah, this chemist won the Nobel Prize. Well, of course he's going to get paid more. I just mean, you know, the trend of your everyday typical academic economist is that they get quite a bit. Okay. Or you can make even more money playing fast and loose, working essentially for Amazon. So here's a fun fact. I think it's for the last 3 or 4 years consecutively now. Or at least most of them, every year, Amazon has hired more economists than the U.S. federal government.
That's fucking scary. That's fucking scary.
Right?
That's fucking insane.
That's a lot of economists. Yeah. So like, it used to be like looked down on, like, oh, going into industry, you're not going to be a prestigious academic economist, you know, in your ivory tower doing whatever. But yeah, the tech jobs, the like Silicon Valley jobs, insane. Like Google, Facebook, they all hire economists.
What for? What do you do?
Yeah, so really so there's, you know, most people disagree, but economists will tell you everything is economics. So economics at its core is studying decisions under either scarcity or uncertainty. So what is that? So you have let's say you're trying to, you know, budget your month out, right?
Sure.
And you make a bunch of decisions about your budget. So there's a decision under scarcity there, but there's also uncertainty, you know, that's what, you know, insurance is for. When you decide to purchase insurance, you are making a decision under uncertainty. Okay. And you take that very simple concept and you extend it into literally everything. So like at like Amazon, for instance, what they a lot of the appeal of an econ PhD for all these big tech companies is you get a lot of programming experience under like and you learn how to like model things, and you learn how to do like predictive and like like causal data science. So it's like, you know, if X happens and Y happens, did X actually like cause Y, or like did Z cause X and Y? Like something we don't know about. What does the data say? What can we do with data? Like what's all the math behind it? Like that's what economists are trained for.
So economists guess and then try to find evidence to their making their guess right.
Kind of, yeah. So that's actually a lot of traditional economics now. With like the advent of big data, we're seeing like
It's a great album.
Big Data.
Yeah.
Who's the?
No, it's a band.
artist?
Sorry.
Oh,
Big Data's the
okay.
band.
Okay. Okay,
Carter's over here posing. No, just
Big
kidding,
Data,
just
the
kidding.
band.
Big Data. I like it when you call me Big Data. But let's see here. Now that, you know, big data is letting us do a thing where we just like, okay, we have 15 million terabytes of data. What if we just like have an AI look at it and see if it can spot some trends without us taking a guess? Which is kind of neat. I like it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Pretending.
Can you budget Hunter's month?
That's a totally different conversation.
So like somebody could, I'm sure.
Not Hunter.
Yeah. Ideally Hunter. So like econ isn't like, so this is an important distinction actually. It's not like how can I help this one person? It's like on average, like what's the theory of like why people make these decisions? Like, yeah, on average. Yeah.
So you do nothing.
You want to fight?
Essentially, you do nothing.
Essentially, we do nothing. No, I mean, there's like really tangible examples that I could give if you want one.
Yeah, give it.
So okay, here's something.
How do you help?
What? How do we help?
Yeah, how do you help?
Well,
what does
only some of us
to
do.
add to the world?
All right. So let's say, because this happened, that, you know, so you have like, so I'm going to go into some healthcare economics real quick.
Okay. Which is fucked.
Yeah, it's the healthcare industry is pretty fucked. But so let's say, so this is how a lot of drug companies work with hospitals, and it's going to make you probably pretty angry. So drug companies will set an appointment, like a representative from that company will set an appointment with a doctor, and they'll say, hey, let me buy you lunch.
Okay.
And they do.
Like Gus from Psych.
Yeah. And all they do is they sit.
I see you.
They sit and they talk, you know, and the representative is like, oh yeah, I really, you know, I want to show you this like new medication or whatever. And the medication could be great. Like let's assume that it's actually like a good medication and like it's all, you know, fine and dandy. And even without the doctor realizing it, even if they're like, no, I don't want to, like take money to like give this out, we find that they end up prescribing it like a lot more anyway, just because of like that recency bias. And we measure it and we formalize it and we say, okay, like every now and then like this happens. And like the problem is like you start to look at like Medicare data and you see people get like overprescribed certain things just because for like the cost of like a $10 to $20 lunch with a doctor, like that are literally like 5 minutes long, just because the idea was implanted in their head. And so you might be sitting there wondering like, well, this just sounds like psychology. Well, guess what the human brain does? It makes decisions, baby. That's what we do. So yeah.
So economists are really just psychologists.
Yeah. Well, other way around.
I'm sorry. Psychologists are really just economists.
Yeah.
It's like magic is science and science is magic.
Holy shit, get Nicolas Cage on this. We have a new role.
Oh my god, I would watch that movie. I would watch that movie.
Yeah, and that's actually like the field that I was most interested in. The one that like twists or like bends together the most like psych and econ is called behavioral econ. And that's like a huge like cool field that I'm into. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's an example. You need to evaluate like, why do I want it to do what I'm doing? Right? Like laws about like sex work, for instance.
Sure.
Right? Like those have like some kind of judgment to them, right? You know, somebody said I, do or don't like that
Just the
sex work
math,
is a
yeah.
thing, and you can measure that and study it and be like, okay, how does that impact these people, right? How does that impact their like day-to-day well-being and welfare?
A lot of decisions.
That's
Sometimes-
economics, baby.
And sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong.
Yeah.
So you're the reason gas is so expensive, right?
Oh no, that's Joe Biden. See, he has a lever sitting in the White House, and he just hasn't pulled it down yet. Yeah. Just ask anyone on Twitter; they'll tell you.
Holy shit!
True. That's what the sticker tells me.
If you're just like,
Yeah. That's the inflation button, the gas price
shit.
button. Yeah.
Listen, if we don't talk about inflation, 40% of inflation is talking about inflation.
I don't know where you just pulled that quote out.
He
of
heard
your
me say it
ass,
earlier.
but- that's funny shit.
But it's real though.
We were sitting in Papa John's talking about inflation.
I had $1 slices. See, that's a choice.
Yeah, $1 slices, hell of a drug.
Budgeting that in.
You went to Papa John's instead of Little Caesars?
Well, it was $1 slices, and I was high at the time.
So you'd say Papa John's was better than Little Caesars.
No. Okay, so on that day for $1, yes, it was better.
So did you see the result of our poll?
That they
Papa
could suck
John's
my dick.
That Papa
Like, I
John's is
don't
better
give a
than Little
fuck.
Caesars.
Like,
Listen, I'm from Flint, home and birthplace of Little Caesars, so I have to side with the pizza company that's secretly just a distribution company and say that Little Caesars is better.
No.
Yeah.
Little Caesars
I got
is
you.
sponges with sauce.
I love sponges.
It's disgusting. Fucking hate Little Caesars.
Have you
so
ever
much.
tried liking sponges with sauce?
I tried the couple of times I've tried it and didn't like it. So, other than pizza, let's get off of that. Let's jump into some more real reasons why you're here.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is I have hard-hitting economic questions that the people want to hear, and that is the
Warning.
real implications that fictional movies have on economic states.
Let's go.
Warning. These are the kind of questions that Hunter asked to our friend who runs the particle accelerator at Corning. They're going to be like very similar questions.
We have to get him on still.
Sure.
All right.
I'll save those kinds of questions for Rob.
I'm gonna ask one,
Okay, hit me.
and then hopefully Carter will have one.
I surround
and
myself
then-
with smart people because I'm dumb.
No, that's the sign of a smart person.
Anyway, so here's the first thing. I gotta make sure I get the title right because I gotta remember which one it is.
Should I be Googling something on my phone while you're
No.
click-clacking
No.
away?
No.
Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, you can Google to get your answer right. I just gotta make sure that this is the right one. Yes, it is. Okay, so do you know the Die Hard films?
With Bruce Willis.
I know of them through Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Jake Peralta loves the Die
Yes,
Hard films.
I
Not
love-
You've never seen Die Hard?
Correct.
I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Great. Die Hard, also one of my favorite movie franchises.
Okay.
Anyway, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Okay, this is the third movie in the series, and in this movie, John McClane, he's
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. He's finally back in New York, and he's kind of been demoted because he keeps coming to the work, drunk and like all these things. Well, it doesn't matter
Because his wife divorced him.
Normal Tuesday.
However, a terrorist starts setting off bombs inside New York City. And
That's not good.
come to find out, it's some German guy, and he's specifically calling out John McClane. Nobody knows why.
Because he killed Alan Rickman.
Correct. The answer is because John McClane killed Alan Rickman, this guy's brother, in the first movie. He waited 2 movies before he decided to get his revenge. Anyway.
These things take time.
Anyway, he's setting off bombs, and he says he's got this bomb inside of a school, and if John McClane doesn't do this thing, he's gonna set it off, and he's making him do like crazy fucking tests and like Easter hunts and all stuff all across New York City. When in reality, he's trying to get everyone's attention off of the Federal Reserve Building. And the real heist is that they steal all of the gold within the he's already laughing, so I know this is gonna be good. They steal the real heist is that they stole all of the gold out of the Federal Reserve Building and were able to take it and leave. Also, the movie came out in 1995.
I don't think the gold standard was around in 1995.
I don't think it was either.
Yeah.
So either way, but that's also helpful in the decision factor of maybe why they chose that for the movie or
yeah,
whatever.
sure.
And we can talk about it, what it maybe would have affected back then and what would have affected now. But the question I'm asking is, he stole from the Federal Reserve Building all of this gold. One, for the money, and two, to fuck up the world and its economy. How actually, and would this even really do anything, or what would it do if someone were able to successfully steal all of the gold out of the Federal Reserve Building? And why is there a fucking bunch of gold in the Federal Reserve Building?
This is if we were still on the gold standard.
Well, what I'm asking is, in 1995 when the movie came out, and now, both times, then and now.
So there's a question which was like, why does the Federal Reserve Bank of New York have a shit ton of gold?
Yes.
And there is part of it's true that it's a relic from the gold standard, but those do still have like they still have monetary value. They're just not what we base our we don't like tie our currency to it anymore.
Go ahead, leading expert.
So the gold standard, like cash still existed during the gold standard. The idea was that at any point $1 or whatever amount could be exchanged for like a certain amount of gold, like in principle, right? And that was so that it made people feel comfortable. It made it feel like oh hey, like you know, in case there's hyperinflation like during the Depression or whatever, and like cash money isn't valuable anymore, I can still get gold, use that as a store of value. I can hold on to that for, you know, until things settle down, and then I can get an appropriate amount of money for it back. So that was the idea. There's a few problems with it. The first is that your economy, if you have an economy that's set to some standard like the gold standard, it is very, very difficult for that economy to grow because there's essentially a hard ceiling on how much money can exist in the economy.
Okay.
The other thing with the gold standard was so it made your economy, you know, very, very hard to grow. The other thing is that it's, if you ask me, it's kind of nonsensical, and I'll tell you why. So like people, you know, that are an advocate for the gold standard, you usually see this in like libertarian circles. Like Rand Paul was like, bring back the gold standard, or Ron Paul. I always mix Rand and Ron up. Why are there two politicians with those names? We need to pick one. And they're like, you know, it gives your money value, but my next question is like, what gives that gold value?
The dollar bill.
No. Well, so
because that gold has to be worth an amount of money.
The amount of
the
money.
same thing that gives gold value is the same thing that gives just a piece of paper money.
Yeah, it's the trust you have in it that other people will want it later, right?
Okay.
Like gold by itself, there's no like universal law of nature that says like this will always be worth something.
Okay.
Fucking Neanderthals a million years ago didn't value gold. It wasn't valuable to them. You know, you might not be in a situation where gold's actually valuable to you at all.
So if the whole point is because the gold is valuable, still, why does that building need all that gold?
Okay, it's not that it needs the gold. It's just that it has it from a long time ago. So there's
so it's just there because someone left it and forgot it?
No. The government. I mean, the government like knows about it.
The government leaves a lot of. Let's be fair. The government leaves a lot of things, places, and forgets about them. Like
like the cheese mines.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know about the cheese caves?
No. What?
What the fuck's a cheese cave?
So the U.S. government every year buys fucking thousands or millions of gallons of excess dairy from farmers to help stop that industry from crashing. And we have hundreds of thousands of pounds of cheese just sitting in caves owned by the government that's just hanging out so that the dairy industry can stay afloat at the current price point.
Time for
what?
Look it up. Google it. You're on a
time
computer.
For a dairy heist.
No, look the shit up. Find the exact numbers for me on your computer real quick. Go just Google cheese caves, like
Caves of cheese.
Of like the government cheese caves or something, for mines maybe.
Cave of cheese government. That nearly 1.5 billion pounds of cheese, only about 300 million pounds of it belongs to the USDA. The rest is owned by private companies and stored by the USDA. So yes, the government really does hoard billions of wheels of cheese in caves underneath Missouri.
That's right. It's underneath
we
Missouri.
gotta find these caves.
Dude, I'm telling you, yeah. There's
Bro, they've got pictures. Oh my god!
Hey,
Bro, it's just like a fucking oh my god. You remember? Oh man. You remember in like fucking Marvel Endgame when they go into like that facility and there's just fucking rows of filing cabinets and fucking shelves? That's what this fucking looks like. It's just wheels of cheese.
Just wheels of cheese.
Just
bro.
wheels of cheese.
Like it's fucking insane. But
what
yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah. Welcome to Missouri.
Why? I
dairy.
get why, but why? Why is it there? Why aren't we like giving it to the poor or
because that would crash the price of
cheese.
the cheese, and then the entire industry would fail. And we
That
wouldn't
would
have
be
cheese anymore.
that'd be counterproductive of the point of buying. the
Yeah.
cheese.
Well, so that's where we are now. There are other ways that you could fix this long term, that don't involve crashing the entire dairy market, but.
Well, why not the government buys it at that price and then not give it to the poor, but make it super cheap, and then that way it's still making
Because
money.
then they're competing with the same dairy industry that
they're trying to save.
They're trying
What
to.
the
Then they crash the market anyways because they're now the biggest cheese distributor ever.
Joe Cheese Biden the
Yeah.
third.
But what are they doing with? Are they at least using it for research? Are they doing anything with it?
No.
Stop. You're lying to me. They gotta be doing something with this.
If they're
fucking-
doing something
Waiting
with
to
it,
make a
you-
new moon. So really what happens down there
That's a cheese
is that
moon.
the cheese is being stored for the amount like until they have enough cheese that they can replace the moon after we destroy it.
Yeah, but
No.
but we do
what
this.
the-
But we do this not just with cheese, but with a lot of other staple
Stop. We
crops
don't
too.
do this with other
rice, grains, wheat. There's.
Stop.
I'm not stopping.
Well,
You
why
can't
is
stop
it
me.
here? Is there at least an idea that like if the world ends, let's all go to Missouri so we can get cheese? That's
where I'm going
That's
now.
one way to die. Yeah.
my whole
Okay.
life is ruined now
All right.
because of this cheese.
That's the dismal
confused.
science for you, baby. That's economics. So in a real life
Are there
situation
plans
like
to use
that.
this in case we run out of resources?
Oh,
Like-
I did forget. So do you know the term government cheese?
Yes, is that what this is?
That's where all that comes from, but there's no way to give it out fast enough that the caves just don't keep growing. Anyway, at the poverty line that they've established anyway.
I'm just like, I don't know. There's got to be a plan for this cheese. There's no way it's a waste of cheese like this.
Well, it stays good for a long time, so we'll see. I guess in the
Once we hit the Star Trek era, like
Yeah,
let's
the
say
Star Trek era.
hypothetically, if we got to a place where currency and money were like there was no currency or money and everything was just like
Yep.
everybody got exactly what
Just
they needed, the
materialized,
amount,
yep.
right? What happens to the cheese?
Well, it doesn't matter what happens to the cheese then.
Right.
But-
I guess it just gets distributed to everyone because monetary value doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So back to Die Hard.
Back to Die
We
Hard.
talked about the gold. I'm Mr. Criminal. I've taken all the gold. What
Uh-huh.
have I done to the economy? What's happening?
Okay. So the biggest part here, the most like interesting part is not the fact that it's gold, but the fact that Federal Reserve Bank now has zero assets.
All right. Very cool.
Yeah.
I think that's going to wrap up this episode of OlderNDumber. Thank you all for listening in. We've had our beautiful guest Ryan Sears on us for this
Our
today.
leading expert.
Our leading expert in economist. You can at him at Ryan Sears, I assume.
I assume.
On Twitter, I'm at Super Searsius.
Whoa.
Yeah, you can add him for all of your economic questions.
Yes.
And
any
Magic
question
Judge
you have.
questions. You know, he needs more of those. So please just,
Yes.
continue to ask him about humility and opulence. Anyways, let's this was a great episode. Thanks for having everyone.
It was a pleasure to be on. I'm happy to be on again. If you get some more questions for me queued up,
Of course.
you can start batting them down.
Sure. Yeah. Makes sense. But thank you guys. This has been another episode of Older and Dumber, the podcast about three dumb friends, except for this week. Just trying
we're
to
still
make
three
it
dumb friends.
Well, not the same three dumb friends, but still three dumb friends.
Hell yeah.
Looking to make it and live on this planet we call Earth. Thank you guys so much. As always, I have been voice of Hunter Taylor.
I'm Carter.
You have
It's
been
me,
Carter.
Cardboard King. To my left, we got Ryan Sears, our special guest.
Our leading expert.
I'm truly a special guest. I feel special. You make me feel special.
Aw.
Thank you.
You can find him moonlighting as Mega Juicy at any local bar. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Later.
May you can edit that out.
No. Keep it in.